Welcome to the Daily Influence, where our mission is to deliver a daily dose of positive influence that can uplift you personally or be shared within your sphere of influence. While not every episode may directly apply to your unique circumstances, we strive to provide insights and inspiration relevant to most people's daily, weekly, and monthly lives. Whether you are tuning in during the morning, noon, or night, the Daily Influence is here for you. Listen, share, and embrace the power of influence in your life. Hey everybody, Brian Smith here, and welcome back to the Daily Influence. Today we are going to be doing a recap of our focus episodes. And it's a really good part of what we teach here at IA and the I and Team series. Having focus is a really good follow-up to the slowdown that we taught earlier. And when you gain that focus, what do you do with it? And what are some of the challenges that come with that focus? And what are some of the advantages and opportunities that can be created from that focus? So I'm going to do a recap today, and then we're going to be moving on past this next week into, not next week, tomorrow into who am I? And what do we do with all of this? And how do I understand maybe what the influence has been of slowing down in this focus? At the start of the week or the focus episodes, we began with intentions. And when we focus and become intentional, it changes things for us. Becoming intentional inherently slows everything down. And we discussed on how being intentional can be an advantage for us and help us to gain that focus and do something with that focus. And then as we become intentional, create intentional moments to move forward and be intentional about each of those moments. One of the other things that will happen is we'll get a better understanding of time. Time flies. It goes by so fast. When we focus and we become intentional, it slows things down, which is what we've been teaching, obviously. But then we learn about the gaps we might have. Gaps that we've created by time going by too fast, which is from us being too in the moment focused on maybe more than one thing. So what I mean by that is when we multitask, when we hurry through things, when we aren't individually presently intentional, but we're even if we're intentional about something next week, 2 weeks from now, or our goals, it can make time fly really fast and create these gaps. We talked about how missing things in our life, the things we read or conversations we've had where we don't recall, or there's gaps in our recollection or understanding, that comes from this time goes by so quickly. We are all in this fast-paced new human world that we live in. And when we slow down and become intentional, time slows down. And by the way, time is the same for all of us. A second is a second, a minute is a minute, 15 minutes is 15 minutes. It's our perception of time and what we do with that time that is so different from human to human. And what we individually do at that time is what's so important. So you control your time. You control those seconds, those minutes, those hours, and those days. Become intentional, have focus, and you'll have better control of that. One way to lose control of that is when we talked about turbocharging our go fast or multitasking. A lot of people wear multitasking with a badge of honor. I'm a multitasker. I can do 3 things at once. Well, we discussed how even the American Psychological Association did a study on how multitasking reduces your capability of awareness, understanding, and retention. So multitasking, while you may go faster, you may appear to get things done quicker. Are you really? How many mistakes are being made? How many gaps are being created? How many people are being left behind? So you have to revisit things and redo things because they're not multitasking with you. Multitasking is a go fast, turbocharged go fast moment for humans that on the surface appears to be something that might make us more efficient. But in the end, most times makes us less efficient from the errors it creates, the gaps it creates, the problems that it creates for others or those around us, or even for ourselves. If we have to go back, we can't recall, we have mistakes. Multitasking creates all of those, and then it reduces the efficiency that we intended for it to create. By the way, the perception still is that we go too fast. Going back to time flies, when we multitask, we think we're getting a lot done. We never think about the mistakes as we're doing them as a inefficiency. We never think that these mistakes, these gaps, these lacks of understanding were created because we were going too fast. We never reconcile those two. We're here. When we slow down and we have focus, we can now think that way. We have a new understanding that multitasking creates these issues and gets in the way of us being the most efficient person that we could be. Then there was the workplace. Focus in our workplace can be distracted. Right now, I'm at Evo 3. It's a workplace here in Frisco, Colorado. You might notice, those of you that can see us on YouTube, that I'm in a booth. And that focus that we have and from our workplace is amazingly influential. The environment you find yourself in. Just today, while I was getting ready for this podcast, somebody came in here and started playing music with all of us around. It was amazingly distracting. And I thought it was interesting because other people come in and they put their headphones in if they want to do that. But this one person decided, well, he's just going to play his own music. And it was not my kind of music. I don't begrudge people for their music. But in this workplace, it created a distraction. And our workplaces can affect our focus. I have an open door policy. People can come in and out. It can affect my focus. I choose to have that, but I have to build that into my daily work routines. Your workplace, where you set yourself up in that workplace and how you communicate to others about the workplace that you're being invited is really, really important. If you find yourself in a workplace that is distracting or that gets in the way of your ability to focus or gets in the way of your ability to be intentional, you're going to have to talk about it with somebody. You're going to have a conversation. You're going to have to change that environment somehow and create a better workplace for you so you can have that focus, you can be intentional, and you can get a better grasp of your time. Finally, we talked about SMART and how being smart can give us a tremendous amount of focus. It also makes us really intentional. If you recall, SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And at IA, we teach SMART as a management methodology. And it is not only a goal-setting tool for us, but it is a tactical tool for us. It is intended that when we communicate with others, that we communicate smartly, that we're specific. If we're asking for something to be done or for some kind of return or something, that we measure it or provide some form of measurement, that we agree on attainability and realistic results, and that it's timely, that whatever it is we're doing or asking to be done is being done not only at the right time, but that there's enough time to get those things done, which goes back to being realistic. They all work together, so it's really important to have good focus, that we're smart. Just be smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Then we went into reactions and how our focus and how much focus we're having can influence our reactions. I talked about how when people walk into my office and interrupt me, and my initial body language might be different than what my verbal reaction is. And so that is one of the things about reactions that we lose track of. When we have comfortable focus, which isn't always good, and we're being intentional for one thing, we can be interrupted and our body language or our words might be unintentional. We might be giving off a different reaction than what we really wanted to. It's really important to understand when this happens. It's really important for you to have and be intentional about your reactions. It doesn't mean that you have to have total control. What it means is that You understand your reactions. You know if you have a propensity one way or the other. I have a propensity to hate surprises. And even though I've opened my door and allow people to interrupt me, and I might have that negative reaction from a body language perspective, I've shared with my team that when you see that reaction, it's just because I'm switching. I don't multitask, I'm switching from one thing to the other. I don't like doing that, but I like the fact that they are able to come in and engage with me. And when they see that, please don't take it seriously. Don't let it get in the way of our ability to communicate. And it is something that I work on all the time. When we understand what our reactions are, we can also help to make them better, a more positive influence. And if you don't have good control over your reactions, get third party help with your reactions. Have somebody talk to you about that or help you to overcome them. Point them out when they happen so you can become reflective and you can use your reactions to your own advantage and opportunity. And then finally, that's it. I am through the entire focus section of our podcast. If you didn't get to listen to them individually, go back, listen to episodes 11 through 17, and you will get each part of the focus topic individually with a little bit more depth. Thank you so much for joining us on the Daily Influence. And tomorrow we are going to start Who Am I? And we're going to dive into ego. So I hope you'll join us tomorrow. Have a great day.